What's up, Afterbuzzers? It is the end of an era. Who are you? Quantico is no more. No mas. We finished episode 13, so you guys won't want to miss any of this commentary, so stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
I can't do it.
I think I got a real tear coming. I don't think it's fake crying anymore.
We're over here crying, and you guys are laughing.
Listen, I don't have on waterproof mascara today,
Right.
so I'm
It's
gonna
not happening.
I took time putting on this foundation. I'm not gonna waste it, so.
The problems are real right there. You cannot mess up the makeup. What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for joining us tonight and for every night of 13 weeks for Quantico Season 3. It's the end.
Wow, 13 weeks.
13 weeks.
Yeah.
You guys listened to us and watched our smiling faces for 13 weeks. Kudos, you guys deserve an award.
Yes.
We love you so much.
Thank you.
And we thought that this song would be very appropriate for the finale
Of the season.
of the show. The show is now over.
Yeah.
Well, guys, before we jump into our overall thoughts for our last time, we will intro ourselves. No, my name is Candice Cruz.
If you're listening for the first time on our very last show of Quantico, this is Elayna.
Hey guys, this is Ashley Allen.
And to all of our loyal viewers, you know me, I'm your girl, Christine Alexis.
Guys.
I love this episode.
I thought it was good too.
I thought it was a great finale. Do you think it was a great show finale?
It was better than what I expected at the beginning of this season.
Okay.
I wasn't sure
That's
what
fair.
to expect.
Yeah.
Very
But
fair.
it ended a lot better than I thought.
It was a great season finale.
Yeah,
it
that's what I
was
agree.
a really great season finale, but I don't think that when they shot the finale that they were expecting to show
Right.
to be done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's probably what we're missing. Like, as it relates to the show, I kind of feel like we're going to get more between Alex and McQuigg. But it's hard to think about that that's not happening, you know?
You know, referencing back to our conversation that we had with Alan Powell, who plays Mike McQuigg on the show, and if you haven't checked that out, please go check it out. He did say that we would be satisfied and that, you know, so watching it, I was just like, man, I don't know how to feel at the end of it. And I was. I mean, I think the writers did what they are supposed to do, which is set us up with an ending that no matter what happens after, whether it's renewed or not, there is another storyline to continue at one point or another.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this is the end of our road for Lips and Leather for a while.
Oh my God.
Just for a while. Just on Quantico, guys. So this is going to be our last segment that we have. So you guys want to stay tuned and watch through the whole video because we're going to feature all our lovely Lips and Leather
Yes.
finale and where you can find us later on.
It's going to be fun.
What were your overall thoughts, Candice?
Overall thoughts, I agree with you. I think it was an amazing finale episode. I don't think it was my favorite finale for a whole show. However, now that we did talk to our favorite McQuigg, Alan Powell, our only McQuigg, favorite McQuigg, either or, you know,
McQuigg.
our only one. But, you know, going into it, they had no idea that they were going to be canceled. So I think the writers did as much as they could with what they had at the time. And I like that it did throw us for a loop at the end. It wasn't the ideal circumstance of what we automatically assume.
Yeah.
But there were things I probably would have done a little bit differently. Maybe had a 2-hour finale rather than a 2-episode finale. Maybe do like 2 episodes and then the last one be like 2 hours rather than 1 hour and really like fill in that time because I almost felt like it was a little rushed just to get us out.
Do you guys think that, you know, when shows are being canceled that the network should allow like the show and the writers and the actors an opportunity to, you know, tie it up nicely?
Yes and no.
Agreed.
No, because from the network perspective, we need to save our dollars and we're canceling the show for a reason. So this is all you get. However, as a working actress or an actor, as a fan of a show, give us that time. You know what I mean?
That.
So it's hard when you are on different sides of the fence and when you know the industry. So when you are able to, I guess, relate to the actors and actresses who are getting a show canceled, and then relate to the executives at the network who are saying, listen, y'all, this is it.
Yeah, and going off of that too, the artist perspective as well. Like, you don't get to conclude your character that you've built.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What I was going to say as well is, just because this is the end of the road for Quantico on ABC, we have spoken on this show about possibly it being picked up by Netflix, which right now it doesn't seem so, but just for the sake of what could be, I guess, like, you're right, you can't necessarily wrap it up because you never know.
Yeah.
True. No, I agree. I mean, I think they did the best that they could with all of it. But hopping into the actual episode, this whole funeral scenario was very interesting to me. I loved the history that they gave.
I love that.
I
so
loved
much.
that part. My stepmom's from Ireland, so I have all of my family in Ireland.
Oh, cool.
They're from like right outside of Galway, so I've heard a lot of Irish, tradition and history for the last 18 years of my life, almost 19 years of my life. So it's really nice to see it like shown on TV, because they don't really show it a lot, and that the fact that they shot it in Ireland.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I think it was a little too neat for the police officers to just like let him go through.
I thought it was pretty boss.
I did too. I'm like, he walked in there like a G.
Because it was funny because, what's my friend named Harry? Harry was like, oh, he's never.
Your friends.
What's my friend name?
Harry was, y'all are funny. Harry was like, oh, he's never going to get past the police officers. And then lo and behold, the window goes down.
Right.
Let me in. And then he just walked in, and I'm like, dude. But then that was kind of annoying because he's the bad guy and we want him to get caught. So it's almost like, I'm going to need you not to have the whole police force on your side.
Yeah.
And also, I think too, knowing, like, if you're from Ireland and this is like the terror that you've grown up hearing about and you've seen what he's done, if I came face to face with him, I'd let him go through too. Bye-bye.
Straight up, like,
Go.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
parts.
Goodbye. I'm so sorry. My condolences, and I'm out. Like, I'm not fighting.
Yeah.
Not at that point.
I'm also, that scene also made me think for a second if, like, how long of a time jump there was, if any, just because
Between
a
the
couple
death?
episodes prior, not necessarily the death, but like, wasn't he thought to be dead, like, based off of that report anyway? So I found it weird that nobody was even surprised that he was alive walking around, let alone being allowed to walk in there.
I think we talked
Did I
about
miss
that.
something?
No, we talked about that last episode. Remember, I was saying that. I was like, if he's supposed to be dead, why wasn't nobody surprised? And then one of you two brought up to me that they thought that he was dead when he jumped out of the plane, and then they realized that he wasn't. I remember having that same confusion.
Well, because one of the other guys, I forgot if it was Little Bobby or someone else, who, when they welcomed Connor back home, they're like, oh yeah, we took care of that. We put out a fake report that, there was no survivors and whatnot. So that's why I'm confused. Like, is that not still the case?
Got it.
I don't know.
Or maybe they're just like, hey, they had it wrong. Bye, I'm actually alive. Maybe he
it
had
just
that
wasn't
moment.
a big deal.
Yeah.
I guess.
They're like, oh, he's back from the dead. It's fine.
I think we are
Just the biggest gangster in
I think
Ireland.
we're missing a small scene where they tried to make it seem like he was dead, and then he's not actually dead, and the people know. Because I just feel like we spoke about that, and I could be wrong, but I don't know. Maybe I made up my own scenario.
I think it goes back to what Candice said initially about kind of feeling like this was rushed. There are going to be some gaps in this plot line and timeline that unfortunately we just didn't have the bandwidth to get to.
Yeah.
But here we are at last.
And I kind of wish that he would have been used more throughout the entire season, looking back at it.
Yeah.
Because we had him so, like, heavily centric in the last 4 episodes.
Right.
And if it could have been more along the lines of what the first 2 seasons were, to where he was a constant through line, I think it would have, all of those questions would have been answered with him.
Yeah.
And I think it would have just made his evil that much more, like, of a twist.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I agree with you. Because if it was going to come down to the series ending on, Alex and Connor's terms of, like, getting even and putting that whole situation to bed, and then you're also getting that through line from Andrea and Isabella, like, why not have started with both of those things
Exactly.
from the jump? Because then it would really feel like it came full circle.
And the pressure escalated.
They tried to put, like, a long-standing storyline with, like, a short new villain and then tie them both in at the end.
Yeah.
When to me, they didn't have the same weight on Alex until the very end. Like, there was a disconnect there for me.
Agreed.
Very interesting. I didn't realize that we had Alex and Isabella episode 1, which was such a good episode for this season.
Yeah.
And then this is our first time seeing them since the beginning.
Yeah.
Besides flashbacks or whatever.
And hearing their names, that is so interesting.
Yep.
And I'm glad that they actually did that because that's what I was hoping for. I'm like, okay, if they're gonna go overseas, we have to see them in some sort of way because what would have been the purpose of them on the show at all?
Yeah,
agreed.
So,
Well, going back to the funeral as well, that speech where he's talking about bringing all the clans together. I mean, it was a very powerful speech.
Yeah.
Like, if you're listening to it, you're like, oh, yeah, sure,
if
yes.
you didn't know that he killed his brother.
Of course, right. Of course, which no one knew. But it was so fascinating to me that Alex kept reciting lines from the book, The Art of Warfare.
Love that.
She took our tips.
Love
last
that. She
memorized.
episode?
Yep.
We were like, girl, how did nobody take the time to read this book and do research?
Love that. She was on
Alex
it.
took her time.
Exactly. And the fact that this speech was calculated, everything was down to an art form. And even when they're going out and she goes up to him and he has the phone,
Yeah.
that was the moment where my heart sunk.
yeah.
Because I knew he had something up his sleeve, obviously, because as viewers, we saw Andrea and Isabella, like, in the capture, and we didn't have an idea that Alex didn't know. But giving the phone and him saying Parvati and her face realization, oh, God. Like, the love of your life and essentially your child.
Yeah.
That caught me off
Heartbreaking.
guard. I was waiting for them to come into the picture, but
Of
then it
course.
was like, boom, okay, the episode's really getting started now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
The stakes were immediately raised.
When I was watching it, I felt the same way. But now that I've had time to digest the episode and we're talking about it, I almost feel like, why didn't you have somebody watching them? Like,
Right?
Okay.
Why did you leave
You
and
get what
leave
I'm
him
saying?
alone?
But this is an afterthought. This wasn't a thought during the episode. It's almost like this is the same guy that came after your families, after your loved ones. You got your mom safe, yes, great, but you know
It's only a matter of time.
because the
right?
reason
Yeah.
you got pulled out of Italy. Like they found where you were.
Right.
So it's, and then she did mention, she was like, you know, I thought me leaving was going to keep you guys safe. But you know better than that.
Absolutely not.
No.
I mean, I feel like that has been a common mistake that we've seen, especially throughout this season, where it's like, okay, we protect our families for this little amount of time while the tension is high, and then boom, let them go.
Yeah.
And then we're back in the same situation 2-3 weeks later.
Right.
So
I mean,
just,
look at Maisie and Harry.
yeah, I don't understand why they keep making the same
Mistakes.
simple mistake over and over.
They're flawed humans.
Aren't we
True.
all?
But our favorite.
Our favorites.
Okay.
Blah. It's a scripted show, okay? There's no flawed humans here.
Well,
Very
I
true.
mean,
Be a hero.
we here at AfterBuzz TV also have a lot of other scripted shows, and I'm sure those shows have flawed characters as
Okay,
well.
that's
Nobody's
true.
perfect, right?
Right.
So we here at AfterBuzz, our network produces after shows for nearly all of your favorite TV shows, from drama, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. And there's no network that works harder to serve you guys as television fans. But we need your help, so we're asking for you to please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that is tailor-made for you, AfterBuzz, and give you content. And don't be worried if you're worried about pesky notifications. They're optional. We promise we will not bug you. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button for this channel and check out all of the other AfterBuzz TV channels that YouTube offers. And when you do so, let us know and make the comment, and we will give you a special shout out as AfterBuzz fans. And we want to thank you guys for being the fans and allowing us to be the ESPN of TV talk.
Yes.
Ah.
And speaking of, we do have a fan that we want to shout out while you guys are hitting the subscribe button somewhere, don't we, Ashley?
We do.
We're going to get to that after our special segment.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
We
stay
gotta
tuned so you can hear your name if it's you.
Put fresh lipstick on first, then we'll announce.
Yes.
Fine.
I like it.
I'll hold my
Hold
horses.
your horses, girl.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Horses and stables were in this episode, which was funny to
They
me.
were.
Why was that funny to you?
Because I feel like every time that Connor has someone locked up, it's in horse stables.
Has that been
Okay.
the case?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They're always somewhere in like some type of stable. This was like the second or third time.
Well, him meeting with the other Klansmen was an interesting conversation and
Yes.
take on it. The other guy did not seem very threatening to me.
At all.
At all.
Somebody's grandpa.
But that's
Literally.
how Connor seemed to us when we were first introduced to him, remember?
No.
No, not to me.
He just looks like an evil guy.
Yeah.
I think that other
That mustache.
clan leader just represented like maybe the old Northern Ireland, like long time, like soprano, like older kind of gang,
Which is fascinating
person.
too.
But definitely not as readily scary as Connor by any means. But he was confident in his power nonetheless. Like he wasn't scared of Connor.
True.
Well, historically, Northern Ireland and southern part of Ireland, like Ireland, have been at odds with one another for years.
Yeah.
So the fact that they even he even came down and communicated with him was like boggled my mind, because Northern Ireland is technically part of the UK now, or has been forever. But like they had a full on divide and a war within their country. So to see him just be like, "Sure, I'll meet with you." That was a horrible accent, but I tried to do a fake accent. It's fine.
But little did we know he'd end up being like really important, I think, along with little Bobby, to essentially bringing down Connor. Because when we were introduced to him at this point, I was like, okay, we're going to get another storyline in the last ending of this show. Not sure how this is going to go, but it ended up working out in their favor for sure.
I think it was almost necessary, though, because of his speech at the funeral.
Right.
Now, even though he didn't seem as scary, those are usually the ones that I'm the most afraid of. Like, not the ones who look like they bark loud, but the ones who look like they don't bark at all, and then out of nowhere, they turn into this lion.
It's that silent power.
Yeah.
And I sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I think we needed another force that could potentially help take Connor down, because at this point I was like, it's still just the same people chasing after the same person. What's gonna give? Like, is it gonna be a cat and mouse thing forever until someone catches somebody? They needed another like force to help them,
and it would have been too easy and in my opinion boring.
If
there wasn't anybody else
that's
there.
true. That's a good point.
I really did like the little Bobby chase that happened. That Alan talked about a little bit with his like car, so we finally got to see the actual car stunt, which was really cool. I loved the action element of it, but I loved his conversation, his monologue, and it was just so like grounded. It wasn't action, it wasn't fluff. It was just him being like, listen, I don't have the brawn, I don't have like the brains necessarily, but I have loyalty to a fault. And to see someone that knows himself so well as a loyal person to deny that loyalty because something so horrific happened that he had to choose what brother loyalty was going to go towards was really interesting, and I didn't know which way he was going to go, but I loved the way that it ended with him. I loved having him in there.
I would have been sad had he chose his loyalty over taking down Connor, like his loyalty to the family. However, that scene that you just brought up when he was talking about not having brains or, smartness and really being loyal, that scene made me wish that we saw a little bit more of him, that he had at least one speaking role, or maybe he did and I missed it, but I just felt like he was overlooked the past 2 episodes, and I wish that he had something a little more so we could kind of know who he is really before the finale episode. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That would have made it, at least for me, it would have made me be a little bit more happy of how his story ended with the season finale. Like good. I would have been more like, good for you,
Yeah, they really only gave us like one breadcrumb towards that, because when Connor did come home and they were talking about him just taking back over the control of the business, little Bobby was kind of standing in the background, not really saying much, and Connor's like, "You all good?" And he's like, "Yeah." But you could tell he was not.
Yeah.
And I think that manifested itself later.
Oh, that line in the coffee shop where he was sitting there with Connor and he's like, "So I'll go let the 2 out," and he was like, "No," or something like that, and then little Bobby said, "You've been in America a long time,
Right?
Remember
how we do
you forgot
things.
how we do things here." What did he say? "Anyone that disobeys my orders will die a slow and painful death." I was like, oh. I mean, that would be threatening enough for me.
For sure.
I mean, but when you live that life, your bosses talk to you like that.
Right.
Like, I would kill you right now if you don't go put the boxes in the freezer.
I'm glad I don't work for those people.
Yeah, thank you.
Talk about job security.
You never know day to day. There's no job security ever. Your job security is your life. That's all you need.
I mean, come on.
Oh my God. Well, finally seeing Andrea and Isabella in that little cell. Well, the stable.
That whole scene frustrated me so much.
I was frustrated with Andrea.
So much.
Entire
girl,
episode.
me too.
Like, I just wanted to smack him so bad.
I don't remember him being so
judgmental.
We didn't really hear him that much before.
The way that Alex fell in love with him and the way that she talked about him in the flashback scenes, he just always seems so smooth and collected and like level-headed.
Yeah.
What we were presented from him with the final episode was very like he was just very frantic. And I get it. His daughter's life was in jeopardy. He was in a situation he's never been in. Guns. Everybody's not used to that. But damn, the woman that you were in love with is telling you, babe, I got us.
Relax.
Chill out.
Like there's a whole Black Ops team here that clearly has your best interests at heart. So, like, I mean, again, I understand it's easier said than done, but let these people do their job. And not only did you risk your daughter's life, but now you're dead.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to see it from his perspective in that moment because does Alex tell him right before the shootout or right after? Like, oh, by the way, I'm actually an FBI agent. So that's the
before
first,
the shootout.
Yeah.
She told him immediately.
So but like, it's still within that moment. That's the first you're really learning of this after she disappeared and you hadn't seen her in so long. I get the franticness or being frantic, whatever. But I agree. Like, get it together in that moment. And it was kind of a head scratcher for me in terms of casting because I don't see the chemistry between those two at all.
Same. I thought the same thing.
I'm like, you are so much more in love with the idea of him and maybe Isabella actually than him.
Yeah.
Like,
Agreed.
it's not there.
Yeah.
Think about Ryan, McQuigg, all the guys she's been hot for. Doesn't even compare.
I agree.
Which is why it's
go ahead.
interesting. And you're fine.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so how you're talking about the scene, the first thing he said when he saw Alex was, "You came for us." How do you have that much security in seeing her and happy that she came for you and then just throw it out the window now that she's here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was that. I didn't understand it.
Yeah, and I mean, flashing back to the first episode, he did seem a little frantic when it came to the gun, of her having the gun underneath the rock. So, but I think he was just the idea of him and where they were and where they met was very romanticized.
New start.
I don't agree with the casting personally. I thought they both did a fantastic job. I will give that. The acting for both of them was fantastic. But the chemistry that we have, the oomph between like her with Ryan and her with McQuigg, like it just wasn't there for me. The fire wasn't there. It just seemed like we're in a little relationship and we have a little house and we're in Italy and
Just like that kiss with Owen and Jocelyn. Wah, wah.
I was gonna ask you.
I wanted to hear what you thought about
really was
that.
gonna. I was
Okay, wait, let's just jump there. Go.
Let's just jump there.
Let's jump there real quick for a second.
On. I'm just still like, no.
So they together.
I guess, but I don't agree. Like,
Do you hear a higher voice, Ryan?
I just want to make it clear. Like, I have no problem with either one of them. I don't like them together.
Him doing the hello. Is that how I say hello? How do I say hello?
That's hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
And then grabbing her face, I was like,
He was like, you can always like start new beginnings. What did he say? The sunrise is a new day.
Yeah.
Shut
I was
up.
like, stop.
No, it was.
granted, to put it in perspective, it is after almost everybody died and Ryan's still in a coma, which we don't know if he wakes up.
He wakes up.
You don't know that.
He wakes up.
He has to.
Yeah, he wakes up.
If I was a writer,
got a
I would
brain
let
injury.
him die.
You would let him die.
Yeah. If I was a writer.
But then what would be the use of Shelby in the show after that?
She doesn't have a use.
She's not.
I mean,
What if, what if she was pregnant
I wanted her to be pregnant.
and then he's dead?
You know, she was probably seconds away from saying that on that balcony scene with
I
Alex.
know.
Like, why wouldn't you tell your wife? It's like, because I'm pregnant. Imagine, like, it could have just been right there.
Yeah.
They could have taken the show.
No.
Guys, we should do fan
different turn.
fiction for Quantico.
I mean, all I've been thinking
I
about
love
is, like,
that.
what could have
Like, what
happened
happened?
next?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
No.
Well, tell me in the
No, you're
comments.
like,
Am
no.
I, like, too crazy for that? Let us know.
Yeah, no.
Okay, Elayna says no.
But this standoff, and also I do want to throw shade to Andrea for a minute as well, with the whole line where he was like saying, "You've never lost a child," and blah blah blah, and the
my
demons
heart.
thing too. My heart. That's when I started crying.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "So you fight the demons?" She was like, "Yes." And he's like, "How long do you fight the demons
Before you
until you become
become
one
one?"
yourself?" And I'm
Ooh.
like,
That was a line.
First of all, you being real shady, and I'm out here trying to save your life. So what you need to do is calm down before you get you and your daughter killed. That's what you're gonna do. Because I was very over him in that scene. And then,
Hold on. You know you made a black woman mad when this happens. It's
man.
about
Because
to get
no.
real.
here's the thing. scene,
I need to
though.
scoot over here. No.
Seriously, that same scene. You guys know how I say like there's one scene these past few episodes that's made me emotional. That was the scene for me because I wanted Alex to say, actually, I do, but she couldn't because it wasn't the right time.
It wasn't the right time.
But you never have the right time when he's dead.
True. But we didn't know he was gonna die. And honestly, it's not about what I'm dealing with emotionally right now. It's about getting Isabella back. Like I can't sit here and throw another child at you. Yeah. And
you had another child, you just didn't know about it.
Right.
Sorry, you might lose two.
But did you see how she swallowed it? Like the gulp that she took after he said that, and she turned around, and you know that she's still emotionally dealing with it. It was just like, man.
Like you just saw your baby daddy, and he literally just put a dagger in you after you already lost your child.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm glad we got to see him, but then at the same time, I'm like, if this is what I was gonna get of him, I could have gone without seeing.
I think it's something to be said about like waiting so long for something, and then it's not what you expect when you actually.
You're
get
not
it.
satisfied at the end.
It's just
But kudos to the writers for that though, because they made us hate him before they killed him.
True.
Not hate him,
but then love him at the same time.
Yeah, they made us get frustrated enough where if he died, we're like, okay, so Alex ends up with McQuig. Fine, opposed to ending up with Andrea. Because before we didn't know where she really stood. Who would she have picked if Andrea was alive?
That's a good
it
question.
also just changes her ending altogether, which we saw. It's not about who she picks in terms of the guys, but like choosing love in a different kind of way.
Yeah,
true.
Which I loved.
Good point.
I didn't like that.
Well, we didn't talk about the standoff either, about the whole Ryan situation.
Oh yeah.
Before, obviously Andrea dies. And that moment when he died too, before we get into Ryan, like his sheer panic and determination to run out, and then the look on his face when he died, like kudos to the actor as well, because that was a beautiful death
did a great
scene.
job. Yeah.
That was gorgeous. Like, but that's when I cried. And it wasn't as much for him, because we aren't emotionally attached to him. Okay, y'all just quit smirking at me. There's a reason. It's because of Alex. Like, she literally, like, broke. And I've never seen her break in that point. Like, I had your child. Like, the child that I basically love is in the car with guns to her. You're dead. I don't know where I'm at with McQuig. My other ex is with another woman, and I'll never, like, all this just comes to fruition at one time. And, like, the love of your life is laying in your arms dead.
Talk about a hopeless moment.
Right?
Yeah.
She's probably like, well.
And then Ryan goes out to sacrifice himself.
Damn.
Did you think that he was going to sacrifice himself?
I did.
I think so. That's totally up his alley of who he is as a character. Like, because think about it. Like, Alex would do the exact same thing.
And Alex
they had
said that.
exchange.
Exactly.
Really, bro? Like, we know this is who you
The
are.
fact that Alex said that and Shelby was still like, but no, but yeah, Shelby, we know him. Like, Alex knows him. So that was interesting to me, too, that they had the roles that way.
Yeah.
And not vice versa.
Well, I think, too, with Shelby, I really liked the way that Alex set it up when the two of them were talking on the balcony. It's like, if your husband came up and said, I'm sacrificing myself, you're gonna try and convince him not to do that regardless.
Yeah.
So I think Shelby's perspective was very, like, spot on, even though she knows that this is her job and she would do the same thing. I'm going to fight making sure that you don't sacrifice yourself. I would rather sacrifice myself.
Right.
Which I get.
But she didn't even have the chance to.
No.
Because he did.
Oh, and that I love you.
No, because he did. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I just couldn't believe how much time we have left. Oh my God.
We don't have a lot of time left, guys.
know.
So, okay, last minute thoughts overall of this episode. And we'll do our overall thoughts of the whole season because we have no predictions
Right.
Yeah.
in our special segment.
Okay.
Womp womp. Hello.
What I was thinking, and I was going to ask you guys at the top, but I'll ask it now. It's just like, where does this episode rank between season 3 episodes in terms of, like, maybe not the whole series wise, but this was like maybe top 3 for me.
Top 3.
Yeah.
Top 3.
Top 3.
I would say my least favorite was probably the episode where they were all in Shelby's house trying to like fend off all those people. It didn't make sense. It was so unrealistic. But
I loved
guess just
episode
your
2.
thoughts. Episode 2?
Yeah, when we got introduced to McQuig.
Yeah.
That
Was
one,
that
I love
episode
one.
2?
That was good.
Wow, that was real fast.
That was
a good
really
one.
good.
You know what episode I also really loved, and I forgot about it until we saw Ryan's life flash before his eyes, when McQuigg, Ryan, and Owen had to be undercover and he had to fake beat him up, and
Yeah.
how emotional that was.
That was the airborne one, right? Was that the
Yeah.
airborne? I was gonna say that was one of my
Was
favorites.
that episode 1?
That was
Or
two.
no?
That was two. That's when we met
Okay,
McQuigg.
yeah.
That episode was chock full of everything, and I loved it.
Speaking of, before we finish with our final thoughts, you brought up a good point. We didn't talk about when Ryan was dying or going out of conscious, his flashback of his life. His flashbacks were it almost seemed like he ended up choosing Shelby because of how he opened his eyes. But for a good minute there, his flashbacks was going between Alex and Shelby.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was very interesting for them to bring that aspect back into it after it's been dead to us. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's because at the end of the day, even though he has buried it consciously, subconscious, like she's always going to be there and she's always going to be that number one woman, even though he's choosing someone else right now.
Ooh, that's hard.
I also think the writers gave us that moment too as a little like flashback down memory lane because it was the series finale. We got so many old scenes in that part too. But I think Alex is still going to be one of the reasons why he gets up every day, and I think that's ultimately what we saw.
That hurts.
Yeah, that hurts.
As me being Shelby or
As a
me
woman.
being
As a
for
woman,
Shelby
yeah.
and Ryan, that hurts.
Yeah.
Like what?
I mean,
Does that mean that your relationship is real? That's a good question, too.
It's real. I believe that their relationship is real. It's just in a different capacity.
Oh, that hurts even worse.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Well, we hope that we really hope that Ryan makes it through this. The fact that he didn't wake up at the end of this episode was just like
cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And the moment, I'll end with this, the moment that the gorgeous shot of Priyanka walking up, Alex walking up in that gorgeous white coat, and like
She looked good.
she looked fantastic, classy as all get out, and her having that internal decision between, because of the overlay of Shelby saying choose love, find this, and the internal monologue of her like figuring out which one, and choosing the little girl. I was like, that was the right choice.
Sorry, I forgot. I also forgot to say how annoyed I was with Shelby saying that. I was like when Shelby was like, "You choose love. Look what I got. Look what me and Ryan got."
Girl.
Girl, you got the leftovers.
That is something that I will never let go on this show.
But no, that
I did.
I just feel like they were reaching because it's a situation that we put to bed, that we talked about, we moved past, we recognize Shelby and Ryan's relationship.
Yeah.
We're here for them, we support them. So for them to kind of have these jabs back and forth was just like,
I just didn't appreciate that line of like, look what I got with
Yeah,
him, and it's
same.
like,
but girl.
I know we feel that way. I think Alex was probably okay though.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, she
like,
didn't care.
honestly, I think she's okay.
Yeah.
But that's what made it worse. Like the fact that you didn't even see the shade. Come on.
She got sunglasses on.
Like,
She's
come
fine.
on. Elayna. Sorry.
The fact that you ain't see it, girl, I'm dead. I'm done. Alex was
The
over
snorting
it.
is back
Yeah.
again. I'm so
over
sorry.
it.
I
y'all.
did love that she chose Isabella. Like, but it
Yes.
also, that also was another cliffhanger. It was also like, dang, I thought this was gonna be the moment because we've been asking for the moment since we've been introduced to McQuigg, and it's still like, I'm not gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, but know that it's a possibility.
Yeah.
And it's also the interesting conversation of like what women are supposed to choose. Are they supposed to choose a man over the child? Do they need to have the man and the child? Like what defines love? I think that's been a whole conversation, especially nowadays with women, and to have that type of like a little twist to where it was a whole nother definition of feminism. I think it can go either way. Like she could have easily chosen McQuigg and I wouldn't have been upset.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think her choosing that direction was shedding light on a lot of other topics and a new way of looking at it.
And she's getting the child that she lost
Yeah.
in another type of way, to be honest. So
Do you think the title of this episode was answered? Like, who are you? Do we know who Alex Parrish is now? Ultimately,
No,
I
I
think
think the beginning.
I think this is the beginning of her finding out who she
I
is.
think she will.
I think
Yeah.
so too.
Guys, we don't have a lot of time left. As much as I could talk to you guys for hours, clearly. But let's hit it with our lips and leather for the final time on Quantico.
Dun, 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 dun.
Shall I
Okay.
kick it off?
Yeah, let's do it,
Let's
girl.
go down the table this way. I am rocking Ruby Woo. It's a classic.
Ruby Woo?
Ruby Woo.
Ooh.
Matte color. It's a retro matte lipstick, and I paired it with this cherry lip pencil because with the red lip you need a little help.
Absolutely.
It can bleed. You don't want to look like a hot mess. So that's what I paired for tonight. Mwah, for my send off to Miss Alex Parrish.
And if I skip you, Ash, I'm just gonna jump in because me and Christine are twinning.
We're twinning.
We have the same exact lip. I also paired it with the cherry lip. I had it at home earlier, so she gave you everything you needed to know about my lip.
Well, look at there.
Ashley, you go, girl.
All right, I am wearing NYX, and the color is Copenhagen. This is one of my favorites because it's a darker color without being too dark. So
I know.
and it stays on. So
you look at the
really
tube
good
color, and it's not like what it looks like on your lips.
At
But I
all.
love this color payoff on you.
yeah, so
Well, I finally delved into my Revlon from BeautyCon. I'm going to put a little bit more on.
I love this eggplant
It's very
color
pretty.
on you.
And I don't normally go for a bold lip, and I'm trying to get better at it. But this one is Purple Aura.
Super cute.
I wonder what a purple aura means about you. If you have an aura around you, the different colors. I should look that up.
Google it.
We'll Google it. But that is all of our lovely lips and leather. Can we give our shout out to our lovely fan before we go into our news as well?
yes, we can. Let me pull her up.
While you're doing that, I do want to give a shout out to Gone Guy 00 who
Yes.
DM'd us all this week
yes.
with some very special news about Priyanka and her next movie with Chris Pratt.
Yes.
Cool.
So exciting.
So thank you for that.
And also a shout out to Miss Annie Redcape. Literally every episode this season, she has gotten on there, given her 2 cents about the episode and about us, and we loved it. So thank you so much for being a loyal fan and watching us every week and joining in on the conversation.
Amazing.
Great.
And you had some quick news to share with us as well,
Yes.
Ashley. You want to take it away?
All right, guys. So, of course, like this is the last season of Quantico, and Miss Priyanka had a very emotional moment on Instagram about the closing of the show. So I just want to read her caption of what she said because it made me tear up. So she said, as the series ends, I want to say goodbye to Alex Parrish. As you'll see, her story will come full circle, and that is the best feeling as an actor. Bringing Alex to life has challenged me physically and emotionally, but even more significantly, it has cracked the door open for female talent and women of color to play leading roles. Yes. Thank you for opening your homes and hearts to me every week. Thank you to the cast and crew of Quantico for being such an amazing team to work with, and for all of the memories that I will cherish, memories of laughter and learning new things, making new friends for life. It was a pleasure working with each and every one of you, and I look forward to crossing paths again.
So well said.
And to our iTunes listeners, you can't see right now, but we have some pictures up from that post that Priyanka, that Ashley just read of Priyanka's, of just some cast pictures, and it's really sweet.
Behind the scenes photos, just showing that it looks like they really were a family behind the scenes.
So go check that out on Instagram. And also, like Christine said, we are on iTunes. We were just getting so excited in our conversation that we didn't get to mention that earlier.
Yes.
But as you do with YouTube and you subscribe, be sure to go and hop on over to our podcast and subscribe there. You can listen to us on iTunes. So if you don't want to see the show, which I don't understand why you wouldn't want to see it as well, but if you want to listen to our lovely voices on your way to work or commuting, whatever it may be, or any of your favorite TV shows, definitely go check that out. I know I love it on my way to work, listening to recaps of all of my favorite shows, because like they said, we are the ESPN of TV talk. So guys, we don't have predictions.
we don't.
We don't.
This is just the end of an era.
This is goodbye.
Oh, man.
For now.
For now.
For now. But, I mean, I would love to see the four of us doing something else together sometime.
I think we should.
So I'm putting that out into the universe. But
I love it.
Until then, guys, you can find me on Twitter at Christine Bean and on Instagram at Christine Alexis. I love you guys so much. Thanks for letting me talk about makeup and a pretty bomb show with these amazing ladies.
Yes.
I'm so happy.
Me too. And you guys know where to find me on all social media at Ashley Reed Allen. And again, thank you guys so much for joining with us every week. And we'll miss you guys
so much. And you guys can follow me on all social platforms at @hey_it's_lay. Please, please, please let us know what you felt about this season finale in the comments below. We will be sure to be interactive. And just say hi to us throughout the months to come.
Yeah, I know. And you guys can find me on all my social media at Candice Cruz. And like they said, please be sure to comment below and let us know what you would like to see the four of us doing in the future. Be sure to follow all of us along our journey. We have a ton of other shows that we cover here on AfterBuzz TV. So this is not the last time you will see us, but it's the last time you will be seeing us for Quantico. So thank you so much for sticking with us for 13 weeks. We love you guys. And I know that the Quantico cast loves you as well. So until we see you again, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.